today, we've bumped into our good friend Jonathon Rupprecht of Rupprecht Law. If you haven't yet seen Jonathon, he's one of the leading aviation drone lawyers in the country at the moment. It's a pleasure to see you here, Jonathon. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking, Sarah.
Jonathon, it's so exciting to have you on the show. Now, I know that we've got a few things to talk about today, but I just want to say I just picked up a copy of your book right here, and it's pretty sweet. Drones, their many civilian uses, and the U.S. laws surrounding them. And the reason I bring it up is not only it's a great book, but so many of us have questions about how we can do things with our drones. Is it okay to do this? Is it okay to do that? Tell us about the genesis of the book, and tell us about what we can find in it.
Oh yes, I actually started researching drones when I was actually in law school. My background is that I'm a commercial pilot. I have a flight instructor certificate. I was doing research into the Japanese integration versus the American integration, and then from that research I ended up publishing that book. And then later on I was asked to be a co-author on an American Bar Association book. And so this book is primarily for individuals interested in some of the uses of drones as well as the laws that apply to drones. So this would be particularly useful for individuals interested in getting into commercial operations as well as hobbyists that don't even really have an interest. So in the back of the book there's a whole section for model aircraft flyers that do this recreationally. And so it compiles everything that the FAA has ever said on the topic and puts it in a nice little chart so everyone can comply as best as they can with what the FAA has said.
That's awesome. Now, you know what I like about this book is that sometimes when I'm out flying, if I knew of a law that I could cite or a regulation I could cite, I could kind of provide this book either to a law enforcement person, to a citizen, or even to one of my friends when I'm trying to prove a point, right?
Correct. You can do that. There are references from all the points in the back. It actually cites where they actually come from. So it's not just me saying it, but I can actually direct it.
It's all backed up.
Right, exactly. There's 402 footnotes in it. So
I love it. Now, we're here at NAB 2015. You've been with us for most of the day just enjoying all of the new drones. What are you most excited about here?
Being with you guys.
Now, what are you really most excited about? Which of the machines, which of the drones, or is it just a sense of community? What do you find here?
I'm enjoying the sense of community, that everyone has a common thread of they enjoy flying their drones. There's a passion there, and it seems to transcend all different age groups as well as jobs, nationalities, country, everything. That seems to be the commonality that brings a lot of us together. That I think that, I mean, if I were to pull some guy that can't even speak English, he's going to have an interest in watching some of these 3DR drones or the DJI drones flying around, and I can talk to him like, hey, you got one? Oh, great. And we can try to communicate as best as we can, and we have the commonality that there's a love for flying these drones that we all have.
No, that's what I love about it too. It's so amazing to see how just anybody that is, in our group, like we have lunch or we just kind of walk around the show floor and people that talk to us, they're all kinds of different people, but we all love flying. Now, one of the things that a lot of people are very interested out there is becoming a commercial pilot. And we know right now with the FAA laws and regulations, we're not quite sure what that means or what that doesn't mean, but one of the sure ways to become a commercial pilot right now is by getting something called a Section 333. And I understand that's something that you know something about.
That is correct. I do have clients, and I am assisting them with obtaining a 333 exemption. Now, what that comes from is Section 333 of the FAA's Modernization and Reform Act of 2012. That, coupled with Part 11 of the Federal Aviation Regulations, allows individuals to operate commercially. Now, the idea of being commercial pilot, they're not really commercial pilots because that's actually a certificate like a private pilot or a commercial pilot, air transport pilot, but these are individuals that are wanting to operate commercially, so they're really just commercial drone operators, and they're interested in doing that commercially. So what would an individual actually need to fly commercially? Well, you're going to need a 333. The actual operator of the drone is going to have some airman certificate, and the FAA has recently changed it to as low as a sport pilot certificate. Before they were asking for private pilot certificates, which was, from my flight instructing background, it seemed like that was way overkill in my opinion. That was cannon to kill a fly. Sport pilot's a little bit better. It's about 20 hours as opposed to 40 as a minimum. So it's better at that point, but it's still a little burdensome. But certain jobs it makes sense to do that. And in addition to that, you also need to have a drone that is registered, and it's treated just like an aircraft as a Cessna 152, 172. That's going to have to be registered. The drone, once it receives the 333, is also going to have to receive a COA, a Certificate of Authorization or Waiver. Now, you're not receiving an authorization, you're receiving a waiver. Certain regulations can be waived, certain regulations can be exempted. So you put the COA the waivers and the exemption, and together you kill out basically the regulations that you cannot comply with. They'd be too burdensome to comply with as a drone pilot. You wipe those out, and then you operate under the restrictions that the FAA gives you in your COA and your 333. And that's how you do it.
Now, a couple of months ago, Jonathan, the FAA announced that they were, going to review all the current regulations, and everybody got super excited. They were like, I don't need my 333 anymore. Do they?
At the time being, yes, they do. They do need it. The NPRM that came out, this Notice of Proposed Rulemaking, is just a notice. That's all. And if you try to go out and operate under it, you are not complying with what the FAA deems to be the regulations and how you can comply with it. So individuals that are wanting to commercially operate until that NPRM comes out, they're going to have to obtain a 333, the COA license, or they could hire out. Some individuals aren't wanting to actually go and get it, so they go find a pilot that can actually fly a drone, or at least get the guy to fly a drone. Good enough. And there's other restrictions in addition. Operationally, it can get a little annoying at times, such as you need to have a visual observer. But the FAA has been making pretty good progress at this, at loosening the restrictions up. So there seems to be some progress there, but in the meantime, you're going to need a 333 until the NPRM comes out. Now, when will that come out? I'm going to guesstimate around a minimum of 3 years from now. This whole process started at 2009, and it's now 2015. So if it has to go back and do this whole process again, it's going to take a while. Plus, you have individuals that got upset at what came out, because you have manned versus unmanned. The Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association, as well as the Airline Pilots Association, AOPA and ALPA, they're going to be lobbying to make the rules much more strict. You also have helicopter pilots, so they're going to be having a hand in this. Plus, we have an election coming up, and do you really think it's going to be coming out anytime soon? Unfortunately, I wish it was, but I don't see it coming out anytime before, at least probably a minimum of 3 years from now.
Right, so, there we go. So we do still have to keep going down this route if we want to operate legally and safely in the US. Now, you're a drone pilot yourself, aren't you, Don?
Yes.
What's your favorite thing about flying for you?
I actually enjoy getting just the aerial, the photography. I actually enjoy it. I mean, I do enjoy the flying as well, trying to come up with cool trick shots or something, or you get to fly it around, so you get to flip it and come back and forth, do stuff like that. And my wife and I, we both fly, and my baby now, she's constantly pointing up at the drone, and she just loves it. So soon we could try to get her to fly a drone, and then we can be like a little drone family and flying our drones around. So the mama drone, baby drone, daddy drone.
That's awesome. What I'm basically getting at is that you're a true passionate advocate of, you love drones. You're not, you understand the full story. You're a commercial pilot, you're a lawyer. This guy knows his stuff.
Yeah, and Jonathan, thank you so much. If people want to get some information or want to learn how they can start the 333 process with you, where would they go?
They can go to my website, jrupprechtlaw.com. And that my information's on there. And also, I would suggest everyone to look at this book so you can get a pretty good information about what's going actually on, whether you're interested or not, and also how to comply with the regulations now, just from a model aircraft perspective for flying recreationally with your friends.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming out to NAB with us. I know you're going to have a great time. Thanks for being on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
All right. And Sarah, what do you want to say to the people out there? Do they need to fly safe? Do they need to conform?
Drones are good. Fly safe.
Drones are good. Fly safe. Thanks so much.
Hi, I'm Anthony Cools. I'm inviting you to catch out the coolest new documentary on drones, The Drone Invasion. See what David and Sarah O'Neill are doing. This is some pretty cool stuff.
Drones are good. Drones are good.
Drones are good, eh?